I'm gonna be real. I didn't expect that video to do that well. I wanted to make a follow-up video to address two specific things. Starting off, people seem very confused about the whole universe reset thing. I forgot to go over this in the original video, so let's just do it now. Time paradox, also called temporal paradox. In science fiction, a hypothetical contradiction of cause and effect within a timeline that results from traveling back in time, as in the bootstrap paradox or the grandfather paradox. Chainsaw Man never actually goes back in time, however his powers literally affect the past and the present. Makima explains this when she first talks to Kishibe. So what happens if the concept eraser erases itself? Only one of two things. Because Chainsaw Man never existed, the concepts he erased were never erased. Everything previously erased by Pojita not only comes back, but Denji still stays dead. Not only does he still have his heart issue from his mom, but he's being eaten. He's being digested. Additionally, since every concept Chainsaw Man ate is back, death is back. So Age of Devils, everyone dies, X, Y, and Z. The only other thing that makes sense is a complete reset to a specific, crucial point in time. And maybe I'm crazy here, but I think the last day that the concept eraser wasn't attached to another being would be a pretty crucial time, especially when you consider this is the same day their contract was made. The only thing I think is kinda hard to justify is Nayata being here. Originally she was in China. But to be fair, the Horseman Devils seem a little bit different when it comes to body possession. They don't make fiends or hybrids, they just take over entire bodies. So hey, it could be argued that since Chainsaw Man inspired Makima in the first place to commit all of her actions in part 1, since he's not a key factor in this version of the Control Devil's development, the Control Devil picks a different human, has its own adventure, and eventually ends up running one of the divisions in public safety. If your main concern or complaint is the ending is rushed, I actually do agree with you. It would have been nice to have a bit of a longer chapter to explain a few other things in between, but that's just my reasoning to that. The other thing I wanted to address, the comment from Guts2016. You say him wanting to be Makima's dog is regression from trauma, but that's not what it is from a character standpoint. It is negative character development. Character development isn't just positive, it is also the negative changes the character goes through. It is him regressing as a person, but it is also him developing as a character. This is 100% correct. I think I was blindsided by the fact that every time I have a conversation with someone about Denji, it's usually revolving around bashing him for not improving. Couple that with the fact that I didn't really script anything in this talk, but I do admit I was wrong there. If anything, I should have described that dynamic differently to zero in on exactly what I was looking at in my head, not just broadly saying there's no character development. And I think the most complex and controversial moment of change that Asa has is during the final battle. I will never be the kind of person who thinks that just because you recognize a trauma or issue with yourself that suddenly you've changed. You have to actually do something to prove to me that your recognition has actually had an impact on you as a person. But as Kokuki 5000 put it, this right here is the pinnacle of that. This is the first time in the entirety of part 2 where Asa's taking back her own agency to make a choice that would allow her to meet the moment. However, I do still think there is some overlap in terms of her self-hatred and action she's always wanted to do since chapter 98. Regardless, that is still change, that is still character development. I think the only take I've heard that just annoys me is the lesson to Chainsaw Man is that no one will ever get better and you should just end it all.
You gotta be ashamed of yourself. Real talk, you gotta be ashamed of yourself. All that you is.
That just seems like a really bratty reduction of the story. The last 5 years I worked for a law firm. We specialized in sexual cases involving the Boy Scouts and LDS Church. Most, if not all of my clients were people in their 80s and 70s, people who are able to recall the events that happened to them as children, but because of the inability to actually face their trauma constructively, they had not positively grown. My job went as far as to hire a professional psychologist to talk to the entire staff to inform us on the effects of child abuse years after it's happened. And the most common thing I heard from all of my clients was, I wish I had another chance. That is how I see the ending. Pajita is simply giving Denji a second chance at life with different circumstances. I think that's beautiful. So yeah, you can either put your themes and such in the bag, or you can engage with the fact that everyone has their own individual experiences and reasons why they are drawn to or appreciate certain kinds of media. I don't really have much else to say. Thank you for 5k views in that video, thank you for the 170 subs, and most of all, thank you for the positive like to dislike ratio on that video. I'm honestly shocked. If you're new to this channel, I don't really have a for sure niche yet. I kind of just ramble about things that I think about or random pieces of media. So if you're into that kind of thing, I got you, but don't expect this to be like a dedicated Chainsaw Man fan channel. That's not what this is. I got a lot of things I want to talk about soon, possibly a JJK video, possibly a Mega Man video, but I have no clue when those will actually come out because I start a new job soon, and that job will be in the mornings, so all my video editing will be at night afterward. But hey, that's all I got for you today. You be safe, drink water, all the good stuff. If you have something you want to talk about peacefully in the comment section, go right ahead, and I'll see you around.